what are some things, or is there anything that you would say, hey, if we're talking long-term care, we've got to talk about X?
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about some potential like FWA areas or concerns that I
Yeah.
always have when I think about long-term care pharmacy and areas where there are problems, or I see
Yeah.
LTC pharmacies getting into problems. And one of the biggest things is in the credits area. And by credits, I mean one of the unique things about a long-term care pharmacy that's very different than a retail or community pharmacy is the ability to take back meds and potentially reuse them. Now, that's state-driven, but most states will allow for reclamation where you can reuse meds that were always under the control of a nurse, that are blister packed or unit dose, not commingled, so they're just single unit dose product. And the potential for reclamation, it's a big deal on the Med A side because the facility is paying for those drugs. And if they don't need them any longer, if you dispense 30 days, but the patient's only there for 14, can you give the facility credit for the 16 days that they didn't need?
For facilities that, to be clear, operate on pretty razor-thin margins, right? These aren't organizations that are operating with really wide margins and have lots of money to waste.
No, they don't have any money to waste for sure. The nursing homes, especially skilled environments, and we worked in Wisconsin with some small independent operators. They have 1 or 2 facilities, and it's just a small mom and pop type skilled facility that does not have the resources. They were always micromanaging their drug costs because it's a huge part of that component. They had to evaluate, and all the facilities were evaluating, can I afford to take this patient before they would admit them from the hospital? What meds are they on? And can I remain profitable given what medications they're taking? It is truly very important for those facilities. So anytime they can get credit for a drug, it means the world to them. And of course, there are some things that aren't worth credit due to labor and time. If the drug is only worth 15 cents, it doesn't make sense to say, well, I can give you 10 cents back on this, but I'm going to spend, I'm going to spend
no one needs the aspirin back. Like, you can keep that.
Exactly. But there are certain drugs, brand name drugs, and things that you can give credit back. And so where it makes sense and financial and you can give credit back to the facilities. And what may happen is it's tempting to, on the Part D side, you don't see that so much. You don't have to reverse a claim through on a Part D per se. But Medicare A, it matters to your facility. So on a Part D, if a patient passes away and there's 2 days left, typically that just gets destroyed. And most LTC pharmacies have potentially a process or a hazardous drug destroyer, a method to get rid of that product. But sometimes it's tempting if a product comes back to not reverse or not put that back into credit. And so sometimes it's like, oh, this drug is here, or even good-meaning employees can move product and not think about it and not understand, well, why are you wasting this? This is a good product. You know, somebody could use this, or I need this myself. I'm on this drug and here it is for free in the trash bin. Can I just take this? And so well-meaning employees can do, unfortunately, some bad things. So I always think about credits because they're a great opportunity in the LTC space. It's a lot of value. But it's an important area to make sure it's managed correctly and appropriately.